Welcome into episode 30 of Ramie and Drew with me, Ramie Makloff, and that is Sleeveless Drew Flaggy. We are here on the opening of the legal tampering period in the NFL, and we also got some Bucks talk to catch up on, Drew, because it's been a while, man. We haven't done a show in, 6 days? 6 days it's been. We had some schedule conflicts. I was sick. I had this thing I was fighting off, so we weren't able to put it together, but here we are. Did you miss me?
Yeah, I missed.
That sounded super convincing.
Well,
That sounded super convincing, Drew.
we didn't do a show after the Laker game, and that game put me in a bad mood. I just went to bed after that one. I was like, I got to go nighty night time. That I was pissed. I wasn't happy about that. I wasn't happy about the Golden State game.
You never go to bed angry, Drew, whether it's because of the Bucks or anything else. Never go to bed angry. You have to resolve your issues before you put your head on that pillow.
I was like, I'm going to go online and yell about something. And I was like, I'm just going to doom scroll on Facebook in the Bucks chat because we weren't doing this, and then just get sad. And that,
yeah, you were sending me some stuff that was coming into the Bucks group chat and some of those Facebook groups that you're in. And honestly, we don't need to, especially not now, because I wanted to start with the Packers and some NFL stuff. And the Packers active, as I said, on the first day of the tampering period in the NFL. And by the way, the NFL, I was watching NFL Network all day, like trying to keep up with this stuff. And I think they caught on to how stupid the legal tampering period sounds. And they were like, just to be clear, it's not the legal tampering period. This is the open negotiation period. It's like, what the fuck? It's the same thing. Like, you could change the label on it. It's the exact same thing. I think Drew just froze up, but I can catch you all up if you haven't been following. What was that, Drew?
I didn't freeze. My face was just like that because of what you said.
No, you're all frozen up. I don't know anything that you're saying. But David Bakhtiari was released by the team earlier today. And I get the move when you look at the money that was due to David Bakhtiari. Drew, log out and jump back in because you are completely frozen. And that is a hilarious shot that you were just frozen on. But I digress. David Bakhtiari out. And that's a money move, man. And I think David Bakhtiari might just retire. I think he still has some good football left in him if he wants to play, but he's clearly not the player that he was when he signed that contract, and he was still due top left tackle money, and you couldn't pay that to him. Drew is back. You just couldn't pay that to him. Yes. But Drew, you expressed a sentiment in some texts to me that I think a lot of Packers fans felt about David Bakhtiari this year. And quite frankly, I get the move from a football standpoint, but any off the field stuff, man, I talked to David Bakhtiari every week for like 2 or 3 years when I was hosting the big show. So I don't talk to him anymore. It's not like we're buddies and we have a relationship, but I got to know him a little bit, and I always liked the dude, and that's coming from a Bears fan. I always liked the dude and felt like this is a guy I would like to have on my team, just from a personality standpoint and in terms of representing the team. But he rubbed a lot of people wrong this way, and I don't get it, man. I don't get the hate that was out there for David Bakhtiari as this season played out.
Okay, so you have a little personal relationship with him. That's fine. Like, that you got to talk to him, because I'm sure there are players in every sport that people might shit talk, people might get mad about, and then you meet them or you talk to them and they're a decent guy because they're human. The way that this seemed with David Bakhtiari, and why I expressed this, I wasn't mad at Aaron Rodgers. Like, I wasn't like a turn my back on Aaron Rodgers. I wasn't like a he, blew out his Achilles. I wasn't like one of the bitter Packer fans, because there was bad blood on both sides of that. I was mad about David Bakhtiari being a veteran player on that team, who was supposed to be a vet on that offensive line. And the second that Aaron Rodgers blew his his Achilles, all of a sudden he's got this hot take on AstroTurf and about fake turf, and he doesn't want to play on that. And he, out of protest for a guy who didn't play on this team anymore, He's in protest being like, I don't want to risk myself on this. Dude, I swear to God, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't blow his Achilles, he doesn't have that opinion. And so whatever injuries Bakhtiari may have been going through this season, it smells like bullshit a little bit to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been in the business of, and especially when it comes to NFL players, and especially when it comes to offensive and defensive linemen, because those dudes are fucking going through it every week in terms of the physical beating that they take. I'm just not in the business of questioning guys' injuries or toughness or willingness to play when I unless I have some kind of evidence, unless I have like a teammate or a coach or somebody coming out and going, yeah, he could have played. He just didn't want to. He didn't care enough. He was, he was a pussy, for lack of a better word. Like I just don't go down that road, and especially not with a guy like David Bakhtiari, who's been through a lot of physical shit in terms of his injuries and recovery and rehab and all that, to be out there on the field. And man, I don't want to alienate Packers fans, because Lord knows, as a Bears fan who has worked in Wisconsin for a long time, Packers fans have been pretty good to me, relatively speaking. You know what I mean? And I think they're a decent fan base, but I've never seen a fan base more willing to turn on a guy when it goes bad between the team and the player the way that Packers fans do. And often, and whether it was Rodgers, obviously, whether it was Favre, Devontae Adams, now David Bakhtiari, it's like, you can't just leave on good terms. You know what I mean? You can't just be like I said, it was a good football move and it was a good money move for the Packers to part ways with David Bakhtiari. But that doesn't mean that as a Packers fan, you have to feel some sort of way about him. It can just be, hey man, he did some great things for us. We had some good years and moving on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I kind of sit in the middle of this where it's like, I didn't mind the Rodgers thing. Bakhtiari, to me, now, again, remember, I'm the bigger NBA guy out of this. Like, I know I'm the weird Wisconsin fan that likes the Bucks and the Brewers more than the Packers. With the NBA, when guys like Kawhi Leonard sit out and stuff, yeah, there's the load management thing, but maybe he's dealing with something lingering or something like that. Chris Middleton right now, maybe. But the second you voice, I don't want to play here, I don't want to play certain games in certain places because of the way I don't want to play in Denver because it's harder to breathe or something like that. When you make a statement in that regard, I start to question, are you hurt? Is it really hurt? Joel Embiid, perfect example of a guy who, okay, you were hurt and then you got hurt more, but you went out there and you played against 3 really bad teams, the stat pad, and then you got actually hurt. So when Bakhtiari is sitting there saying, I don't want to play fake turf, but then you're also not playing on grass. And then, the ground is too hard in December in Green Bay because it's whatever. It's like he doesn't want to start playing these games. And yeah, maybe he's got.
I don't know that it was ever confirmed that he didn't want to play because it was fake turf, or if that, or if that was the case, if it was his personal decision, or if that was sort of something that him and his doctors or team doctors had decided was the best way to go, given his injury history. Those turf injuries are real. Like, and you can just look at the statistics of the way that guys have gotten hurt on turf, and there's no denying it. So so it's just a business decision, man. I don't know why you would take issue with a guy making a business decision and what's best for himself. Drew, real quick, let's get in. I want to get in hot take Jake. I don't want to leave Jake waiting too long. Jake, what's going on, my man?
You got to love Wisconsin weather, man, because even on nice days, it can't just actually be nice. It's like, here, let's hit you with 80-mile-per-hour winds, because you just can't have it fully nice. That's not the way we do it.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
It
looks nice
out
Jake.
Here. My kids are out on the playground, but I had to walk away because I know I'm going to curse inevitably. Look, I'm with Drew on the whole David Bakhtiari thing. It's not that he made a business decision. It's the way that he went about doing it. It's like having your brother put snarky comments out there because you don't have the balls to do it. And then after Aaron Rodgers was traded, he starts talking in the media last offseason about what Green Bay is going to do and calling them they instead of us. Like, he clearly was butthurt that his little friend got traded away, and that's what was more important to him. So fuck that guy. Glad he's gone. Good riddance.
Yeah, I completely agree.
In 3 seasons. after they signed him to that deal. Like, that's a horrendous deal, and it hampered Green Bay. So fuck him. He's gone. Later. Peace.
Jake, it was a good choice to move away from the playground, man. That was a good call.
I couldn't.
They signed him. They signed him because Aaron Rodgers' best friend. Like, that's why he got that. And that's why I said to you, that's one of those contracts where you look at it. It's like, if Giannis leaves, are we still paying Thanasis? Fuck no. So it's like,
no, but I mean, that's not a fair comparison. Jake, I'm gonna let you go, man, because there are kids screaming in the background. But I appreciate you as always, my man. Thank you. Enjoy the nice weather. But that's not why he got paid, dude. He was the best left tackle in the league. That's a premium position. Okay. That's one of the most important positions in this league, especially when you have an Aaron Rodgers standing back there to protect. He got paid because he was really good at his job.
Great. He got paid because he was really good at his job. And if he would have never tweeted a goddamn thing, I think me and Jake would have completely different takes on this. But because he made it known that he doesn't want to play because Aaron Rodgers got hurt, he doesn't want to play. A guy that, if Jordan Love got hurt and he was like, wow, my guy got hurt and this is bullshit, change something. Somebody that plays for a different team in the AFC, it's not even like it's a guy in his... the Jets affect us in no way except for the fact that one of our highest paid players doesn't want to play. Dude, kiss my ass. You're under contract and you're going to play if you can play. So it's just, all I'm going to say is it seems suspect. If he never tweets a thing about the turf and Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, if he would have just been like, I'm hurt, fine. But he made it specifically known after week 1 of Aaron Rodgers getting hurt that is like, I don't want to play half the games this year because they're going to be indoors on fake turf. He said that, and immediately now every injury that he puts out there now, I'm going to say I'm a little bit suspicious of this.
And I don't think that's fair. And I don't think either of us is going to convince the other of whether or not that is fair or whether or not that's an accurate statement. But I've never been in that business or thought that type of way. Like, again, if you give me, and man, even though Aaron Rodgers is playing halfway across the country for a different team in a different conference, we can't just act like there is no connection between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, or Aaron Rodgers and one of his closest friends on the team. You see a friend suffer the type of injury that Aaron Rodgers suffered, and you have your own history of injuries and lower body injuries and knee injuries. And you look at it and you go, oh man, yeah, that could be me. That hits close to home. And I don't blame a guy, especially a guy who's already put life and limb on the line to go out there every week and has already suffered and fought back through so many injuries as he has, to start questioning him now because of some tweets. Like, so what, man?
They were specific tweets though. It's not like he tweeted about goddamn politics. It's not like he's tweeting about the Oscars and I'm like, I don't agree with your take on Oppenheimer. No, it was not about that. He specifically tweeted about working conditions for something else. And it's something that you've known that guys get hurt on these turf injuries all across the league. It's well known. This wasn't something that popped out of nowhere. We're going to have a movie with Will Smith in it called Turf pretty soon, like the concussion movie. Like, we're going to have a movie called Turf.
Well, regardless, because I did want to get
Bakhtiari's going to yell and tell the truth. Do we know that this rips up knees? Sure. But it's like, he knew this. He's not a stupid guy. But then he made a conscious decision to, in my opinion, quit on Jordan Love, to quit on Aaron Jones, to quit on A.J. Dillon, because those were guys that he's supposed to be protecting now. I don't care that Aaron Rodgers is your best friend. You work for the Packers. You play for the Packers. And if you want to sit here and throw a temper tantrum that somebody on the Jets got hurt, because he's, in my opinion now, just another player in the league. You're on my team. You're going to do your job. And he didn't want to do his job. My friend Rob screwed up his knee at work. I don't get the fuck off now because Rob twisted his knee. So now all of a sudden Drew doesn't have to do his job anymore because we work under the same conditions.
By the way, I know I don't believe Rob and about his knee. All right, I'm just saying. I think he's milking it a little bit to get the disability. And that's all I'm gonna say on that matter.
Would it be easier on his knee? Yeah, sure. Lose the dad weight.
Why you gotta call Rob out like that, man? That's not cool. You'd have to bring up the weight. You'd have to bring up the weight. I brought up Art's weight on the air though, and he was technically a coworker, so I can't really talk. Here's a comment that came in on the YouTube page from Hottest of Jacobs Jacob. He says, "Ramie, congrats on the Bears remaining the cap space champions. #undefeated." Yeah, man. And I'm not surprised. Am I not disappointed? No, but I'm not surprised that the Bears sat there and watched Saquon Barkley go off the board to the Eagles, watched Josh Jacobs go to the Green Bay Packers, and we'll get into that in a second, while the Bears settled on DeAndre Swift, and watched Christian Wilkins go off the board, like all the top free agents going off the board. And all I've heard as a Bears fan, and I was on 670 The Score on Friday, Drew, but all I've heard as a Bears fan was about how good a position Ryan Poles has put this organization in with all the cap space that they have and all the draft picks that they have, and Caleb Williams on his way in. And I keep telling Bears fans, you don't get trophies for any of that shit. You get trophies for none of that. You get trophies for winning football games. You hang banners for winning football games. And to this point, Ryan Poles has been like a really good consultant. He knew how to come in and slash costs and get rid of some really good employees on the way, even though the product that he was putting out was fucking trash and continues to be trash. Like, for the Bears to start the day with a worse running back than the Packers, go out and sign a running back and still end the day with the worst running back than the Packers I don't know how you justify that as the front office and an organization that had the third or fourth most cap space in the league. And honestly, Drew, to get to the Packers side of things, I love the Josh Jacobs signing for that team. I got a close-up look at Josh Jacobs for that cup of coffee that I had out in Northern California. I know they moved to Vegas, but still a lot of Raiders fans there. We talked about him every week. I watched him every week. And his first season while I was out in Northern California, man, he carried that team. And I think they won like 7 games, which is not impressive until you think about the fact that he basically did that by himself. And I remember a stat that year and talking about how much of a fucking idiot Josh McDaniels was for not just feeding Josh Jacobs every week. Every time that he carried the football or touched the football 20 times, they won. And this is a guy who's super versatile. He can even block. He's a 3-down running back. You don't have to take him off the field. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can break off the big play, flip the field, or score from anywhere at any time. I love the move. Now, they did tell Aaron Jones that they plan on releasing him. When they first made the move, I think everybody thought, and I think Ian Rappaport said on the NFL Network when I was watching, that it was going to be a backfield of Jacobs and Jones, and A.J. Dillon was on his way out. It sounds like right now Aaron Jones is on his way out, but I don't think that's set in stone. I think they go to Aaron Jones and they say, we're going to release you. We wouldn't mind bringing you back at a lower price tag, and then you deal with A.J. Dillon if Aaron Jones accepts that. But right now it looks like Aaron Jones out and Josh Jacobs in.
Yeah, I mean, that was the main thing that I liked about when you texted me instead of Josh Jacobs. Initially, I said the Weatherman because it sounds like a Weatherman name.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like my main thing was like, yeah, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And that's honestly my favorite thing about Aaron Jones was just those little screen passes that he was able to catch and then get big gains on. So he has a similar skill set to Aaron Jones, and he's 3 years younger. And with running backs, that's what you kind of want because the wear and tear is real.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was kind of talking to my dad about this a little bit today. And all I said to him was that I was like, yeah, with football contracts, you want to maximize all 3-4 years that you're getting out of a guy in the NFL. A baseball contract, you're probably looking at 50% of that contract. Where if you sign a guy for 10 years, you probably want 3 great years and then 2 good years. And then the rest of that is thank you for your service and rewarding. The NBA gets signed off a reputation, really. Like, you could have declining stats, but it's like, but he was him a couple years ago. So, well, that's going to be a Jaylen Brown contract. That's going to be funny to watch. But, yeah, it's like, so for football, yeah, like Aaron Jones, for what he's going to get paid, as much as Aaron Jones is my favorite Packer, like currently as the roster stands, like he's been my favorite one for a little while now. But like, you you got to be careful with the injuries he had last year. His very real injuries, non-tweetable injuries. I completely believe Aaron Jones when he says it hurts. I believe him.
Right. Yeah.
Because, he seems like an honest individual who just goes out there and takes care of business, and maybe his heart's in the game a little bit instead of whatever. He doesn't have a picture of Aaron Rodgers with a heart around it on his screensaver. Yeah, I like the move. I would like them to be able to bring back Aaron Jones, but also if it's time to move on, I'm gonna be sad that he's gone, but like I get the move and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think you're always okay with upgrading. You know what I mean? Anytime you can get better, then you go ahead and you get better. And sometimes, and I know you don't like hearing about this, Drew, but man, I was fine when the season ended with David Ross as the manager of the Chicago Cubs. I was like, yeah, I mean, this is his first job. This team has gotten better every year under him. I've seen development from young players. They shit the bed in September and cost themselves a playoff spot. But hey, he's shown enough that I'm okay with him going forward. And then out of nowhere, out of the clear fucking blue, they had a chance to sign Craig Counsell to be their manager, who in my opinion is the best game day in-game manager in baseball, quite possibly. And you have a chance to get that guy. It's tough because, again, David Ross did a good job and seems like a good dude, but you can get better. You get better. And this is the same case with Aaron Jones. He's been nothing but a great guy and productive on the football field for the Green Bay Packers, short of a few fumbles in some crucial spots, including against the 49ers in that playoff game this year. But he's been pretty much nothing but good for the Packers on and off the field. But you have a chance to get better, you get better. And like I said, I think Josh Jacobs is a difference maker. I'm not really into paying for running backs, and I was on the Score on Friday talking about the Bears and what I'd like to see him do in free agency. And I said I would be in on Saquon, Josh Jacobs, Eckler. There was another running back who went off the board today. None of them were DeAndre Swift. I'm sorry, say that again.
You probably have Aaron Jones. He's out there.
Yeah, we probably could now. And none of the guys I named were fucking DeAndre Swift, which is who they ended up signing from the Eagles to be their starting running back is DeAndre Swift. But I digress.
So you're telling me that Bears fans are not Swifties right now, dude? That's fucked up.
You're always taunting the Swifties, man. You're always
I'm taunting Bears fans now, and I'm trying to pit the Swifties against you. Is what I'm trying to do.
People don't know. There was other news and more good news for the Packers in the NFC North, and that is that Kirk Cousins got $180 million to go play football in Atlanta for 3 years. Which I like Kirk Cousins. Say that again.
They're a playoff team now. That's just how that.
Yeah,
works.
I think so. And because Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, and you put pieces around him and give him time, you give him protection, and he'll put up big numbers. Dude, he was on his way to putting up MVP type of numbers before he got hurt last year. I'm not saying he's like a top 5 quarterback. I'm just saying he was on his way to that type of season.
I wanted to say one last thing about the Josh Jacobs thing, though.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
The one thing I wanted to say is that, so last year, obviously was supposed to be a rebuild for the Packers. And with the way that they played, especially closing out the season and the strides that like Jordan Love made and everything, that rebuild window shrunk. Like they're back to playing what's expected in football. So getting Jacobs is going, like I said, 3 years younger than Aaron Jones. So you're going younger with a guy who gives you the exact same thing that brings a similar skill set. So basically you just solidified a core that's going to be here for a few more years with less risk of injury recurring. Like, there's always the risk of injury, but there's always but you already know that Jones missed enough games with injuries this year. So now you have somebody who didn't have that problem and he's younger. So that
you're right.
Ability. So I think that this was absolutely a winning move. And had the Packers still been in a situation where maybe we're not ready to be a playoff team yet, I would think maybe they held on to Aaron Jones as a veteran presence and, a locker room guy. But this kind of seemed very similar to like the job changed, like with Adrian Griffin. The job changed. We have to do something now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I wanted to say.
No, you're right. No, that's a good point. This you're right that the timeline moved up, and I think there is more urgency and more pressure and more expectations now. And it also fits the timeline of Jordan Love better when you look at the age of Josh Jacobs and the age of Jordan Love and the young receiver core and tight ends that they have. This is more in line with that timeline. But back to the Cousins move, I like it for Atlanta, but a lot of people have also pointed out, like, you just gave Kirk Cousins $180 million. You could have given Lamar Jackson $200 million last offseason and he'd be your quarterback. Like, that'd be a whole lot better. So from that standpoint, from that perspective, I don't really get what Atlanta is going for or looking for in a quarterback that you're going to get from Kirk Cousins that you couldn't have gotten from Lamar Jackson for $20 million more, and which in the big picture is nothing.
I do not understand the whatever the stink on Lamar Jackson is, why no one looks at him.
No,
I honestly don't get it.
I talked about that a lot while it was going on, while he was out there in free agency. But as far as the NFC North, Drew, I will say this. Now, I'm not thrilled with what the Bears did on day one of the open negotiation legal tampering period, but I will say this with Kirk Cousins now out of Minnesota. I thought for sure that the Bears were the worst team in the division going into the season. It is to be determined. It is TBD what the Vikings do at quarterback. But right now, and I sent a celebratory text to a group chat with my brother and a couple mutual friends who are also Bears fans. We are not, as we sit here today, the Chicago Bears are not the worst team in the NFC North, ladies and gentlemen. Print the banners. They are the third worst team in the NFC North. And they are better as we sit here today than the Minnesota Vikings, simply because of what's going on at the quarterback position. Whether it's Fields or Williams, I'll take what the Bears got today over what the Vikings got today at the quarterback position.
Yeah, you guys are definitely the in-season tournament runner-ups right now. That's you guys are Pacers fans celebrate right now. Oh, there you go. Hang the
Hell yeah, man. We're not the worst team in the division.
Third
place, on March 11th. I mean, it's March 11th, and the Vikings very well might have a better quarterback than the Bears by the time the season starts. But as we sit here today, the Bears don't have the. What was that?
They might get Justin Fields. You don't know.
Yeah, I would doubt. Now they might end up being the only bidders or the clear-cut best bidders, but I think short of that happening, I can't see the Bears trading him in division. I think they'll go out of their way to not trade him in division and have to see him 2 times a year.
Hey, you got any more of those quarterbacks?
Like I said earlier, Drew, it's been, I don't know, 5-6 days since we've gotten together for a show. And we today we got together mostly to talk about this NFL stuff because that's mostly what's going on today. But I know you got Bucs thoughts on your mind. They finally lost a game since we last convened. That was their first loss. Oh, 2 games. Oh, that's right. They've lost 2 games see, that might be it. We haven't done a show in 5-6 days. They go and lose 2 games, but they've also won 2 games in that time. Have they not? Including their last one against the Clippers. No, they've won 2 games since then.
No, Golden State and the Lakers. We lost those 2. And then we played the Clippers, and that's it.
Oh, okay. All right. You're right. I thought there were 4 games. Whatever. But
the 4-game road trip, we haven't played the 4th one yet.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. They got the Kings tomorrow, and I'm going to track down some of my Sacramento friends to join us on the show tomorrow.
We're pro Kings.
Yeah, we like the beam around here.
Sabonis helped me win my parlays, dude. 43.5 points. Dude, I won $200 this weekend.
Nice. Well done.
Everyone hit Pat Beverly 3-pointer. Who I bet on that. Nailed it.
Why would you bet on that?
Why I know, but it was spicy. It had the jalapeno next to it. I took it.
Hey,
3-pointer.
If it has the jalapeno next to it, you got to take it.
I took Bobby Portis 7.5 rebounds. He got 8. There we go. It was Damian Lillard 23.5 points. He scores 35. There we go.
Other than your financial well-being, the biggest takeaway for me, and we talked about how good the defense was coming out of the All-Star break, and that's cooled off a little bit. They're not holding every opponent under 110 points anymore. But the one thing that has been better pretty much night in and night out, except for the game he missed when he was injured, is we're seeing what a lot of people thought the two-man game could be between Giannis and Dame finally start to look like it, and getting 25, 30 points out of both of those guys pretty much night in and night out, working off of each other, opening things up for each other, opening up other teammates. Like, we're really starting to see what that duo could be.
So the Lakers game was where it actually really started to look like it was clicking. And there were so many plays in that one where, Giannis and Dame, they would start running the pick and roll. And then all of a sudden, Bobby Portis is backdoor cutting, and he's in the dunker spot under the basket. And it's just one more pass, and you're getting Bobby easy buckets. Pat Connaughton cutting behind. Like, the guys that we all bashed for their bench play and kind of whatever, all were stepping up. Like, Jay Crowder even got a couple layups off of this like pick and roll and everything. He's still not shooting great. But like, that Lakers game was extremely encouraging. And that's actually why I was in a bad mood when we lost it. Cause it's like D'Angelo Russell, 42 fucking points, and he shot 9 of 11 from 3. It turned into a video game. Like, what the hell was that? Yeah. So that was annoying that they just couldn't stop it. But other than that, the two-man game was great. And then yesterday, it just looked like it was there. Like, against the Clippers.
Yep.
Their two-man game was absolutely unstoppable. And of course the Clippers were missing Kawhi and Paul George, but like, it looked unstoppable when it was the two of them. And then like the last, like that last 3-pointer that Dame hit where, he got double teamed up top, and then Giannis peeled off to the wing and he passed to Giannis, and then they had to pull a defender out of the paint to get up on Giannis. And then Dame just broke around the back and it was a handoff for a 3. That was exactly what, like, I think all of us thought was going to be the kind of going to happen for the Bucks. So that was super encouraging. I'm going to keep saying Damian Lillard is shooting more efficiently. He's more aggressive early on, and he's finding his shot. And he looks like the Damian Lillard that we all expected. It's really encouraging.
Yeah.
But not to be too happy.
I think the arrow keeps pointing up despite a couple of losses in their last 3 games. I think the arrow keeps pointing up with Doc Rivers as the head coach, and seeing developments and improvements, and specifically in areas where we thought we would need to see developments and improvements if this team was going to do anything. The defense is improved, the bench is improved, the two-man game between Giannis and Dame is improved. Like, these are the things that we were constantly and consistently pointing at when this team was performing below expectations, and saying, if they don't fix this, if they don't fix X, Y, and Z, then this thing ain't going nowhere. And Doc has come in and I think sort of had the same checklist in terms of things he needs to get right if this is going to get anywhere. And that's exactly what you want. That's all you wanted from whoever they brought in as the head coach.
Well, Damian Lillard said in his post game, I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen it by now, at least the 1-minute clip where he said that Doc just had Giannis and Dame give the ball back to each other over and over again in different actions, just the two of them to get comfortable with playing off each other. And it's like, well, it obviously worked last night. And if that is the constant, it's going to be really hard to beat those two.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm still not expecting Damian Lillard to score 30 every single night. It would be nice, but I'm not expecting, but like 25, 26, 27, there's nothing wrong with that.
My main thing is I want him taking 20 to 25. We've talked about this all season. I want him taking 20 to 25 shots night in and night out, because he has that many good shots to be taken, and he's good enough that his shots don't always have to be the best shots for him to put him up. You know what I mean? Like, he could take shots that other guys can't in terms of what the defense is doing against him on a given possession.
I like to think that I got a pretty good understanding of how basketball works and what the rules are. I, for the life of me, cannot understand what the fuck a shooting foul is specifically for Damian Lillard. Because of all these parlays and shit that I play, I'm watching other NBA games. Luka is getting and ones left and goddamn right on whatever kind of I love Luka, but like all the horse shit that he pulls out on the court and his bucking his head up and everything like that. Luka is in less of a shooting motion most of the time, and he's getting these calls. And Dame gets fucking hammered. He gets whacked in the head, and they don't call shit on him.
Yeah. And if they do, they often say it's before the shot, before the shooting motion.
But again, Luka's getting continuation.
No, I know.
Like, what is this? Like, I also get it from like the referee standpoint, where maybe they've been told we don't want Giannis and Dame going to the line 50 times a night. But then here's the thing: defense has to play defense. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. The whole thing with Giannis, yeah, it's like, oh, he shoots 12 free throws a game. Well, guess what? He gets tackled like 100 times a game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, stop tackling. Like, well, then he's just going to walk to the basket. Then figure something out. Nick Nurse figured out the wall until that started crumbling.
I remember watching one of the Bucks Celtics playoff games a couple of years ago at a bar in San Francisco, and I don't know why, but I was surrounded by Celtics fans, and I had to keep reminding them that falling to the ground and complaining is not defense, and you can be the one who ends up on the ground and still be the one who fouled, who committed the foul, especially when you're going up against somebody who is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and his physicality and just his sheer size is he's going to get those fouls unless you're playing perfect defense, because he brings that contact. He's going to get that contact when he's going up for shots.
Yeah. Well, and half the time, yeah, he just gets around guys. He's long, and then by the time he extends his arms, they're getting across his chest. Like, they were trying to stay in front of him, but it's whatever. Like, Giannis gets fine calls. Like, I have no issue with the way that Giannis gets refereed, except for the fact that he should be at the line way more. But I don't honestly want to watch a game where Giannis is shooting 1,000 free throws either.
Yeah, we'll be there all night.
But the amount of times that Damian Lillard just gets absolutely hammered by guys, and it's like, what are we watching here? And then it's like, when he actually got a 4-point play the other night against the Lakers, I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, holy shit, they actually called a shooting foul on it. And it's like, they had to almost have a guy grabbing his jersey the entire time he was coming off his screen and then pulling him down while he was jumping up. And they were like, yeah, I think we can call a whistle on it. We can blow a whistle now. And it was like, that was crazy. But no, it's just nice to see Dame playing that way. Also, for Bucks fans, a nice encouraging thing is the Celtics do not know how to close out close games. So if you keep it close, Jason Tatum had to take the last shot. He's not I had to take my shot at Jason Tatum because we're in the final seconds of this podcast, and I'm willing to take that shot. Unlike Jason Tatum. He doesn't want to take it.
And go hard at the basket too. And go hard at the basket with it too. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, hey, Jalen, you're making the most money per year on this team. You should take that shot.
You're not closing out the show with just some lame, weak ass turnaround fadeaway. You're going hard in the paint.
I'm not pushing off of you right now and then also kicking my leg out to try to also draw an offensive foul. Actually, this was funny. This is my favorite take. I was saving this one for you. You ready for this one? Because this was, since we didn't do this, I was like seeing what do the real fans have to say. You know? Okay, this is a good one. Damian Lillard is not a real point guard. He is a shooting guard masquerading as a point guard. We need a true point guard on this team if we're going to win a championship. I've watched the person who tweeted that or posted that in the Milwaukee Bucks Nation chat slowly descend into madness over and over again. Like I've watched a man catch schizophrenia in real time. It's really incredible to watch.
You send me screenshots of some of the comments in these groups that you're in, and I worry about these people's mental health. I genuinely do.
The thing that was crazy is it always used to just be Freeway who would say things that were insane like that. But like it's
now
like,
everybody
not Freeway anymore. Freeway is like he's like with it. Like he's not out of the line.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
No, listen, he posts polls that are pretty funny, but like there's always like a weird caveat where like the sentence made sense until it stopped. Like it's just, but there are all these things where it's like all these people are like Dame Lillard haters. Like it's so funny. Or they're like, we need a true point guard. I'm like, you mean like Rajon Rondo was, where he scored like 10 points per game? And it's like, okay. And then you know what we're back at? We're back at the Drew Holiday situation where it's like, well, this guy can't fucking score in the playoffs. It's like, well, you wanted a true point guard.
I kind of knew that we'd get to the point where people would be like, you know what we need is a Drew Holiday. Like as soon as they traded Drew Holiday for Dame Lillard, I knew we'd come full circle back to the point where people are like, we need a Drew Holiday on this team. It's like, you had one, man, and you traded him because it made you better. Like, I love Drew and everything he brings to the team. Not you. I don't like you at all. I love Drew Holiday and everything that he brought to the team and everything he brought to the community. But, like, you got better. And, yeah, it would be nice to have Drew Holiday and Dame Lillard, but you don't. And it's not going to – you're not going to get a Drew Holiday or another Drew Holiday. Those days are gone, and you don't necessarily need one to win.
This thread actually got deleted, which was so funny. Somebody also posted something about how Drew Holiday's defense is more important than Dame Lillard's offense because Dame doesn't play defense. And I took the screenshots of how many steals Dame Lillard has this year and how many Drew Holiday has. Dame
has sent that to me.
He has like 14 more steals than Drew Holiday. And then she seriously goes, your fucking stats don't matter, nerd. I was like, I hate our fans. I'm like, this is the happiest time of my life. Like, I love the Bucks so much. And our fans turned into this. I'm like, oh,
we did get to a point. We did get to a point where a lot of Bucks fans just can't be happy.
I was like,
even with the win, they're like, yeah, but we should have won by more, or yeah, but Giannis, or yeah, but Dame, or there is that faction of Bucks fans that just they can't be happy. And I feel sorry for them more than I let them drive me crazy. I feel sorry for them.
I've only gotten mad at 2 games this year. I was pissed about the Lakers one because I just hate the Lakers. But then the other thing was like the Portland game. That was the one that really fucking chapped me pretty bad this year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, like, yeah, I know we're trying to wrap up, but man, like, I was like, these people, like, they're mad about everything. And I'm like, maybe it's just be better off if like we went back to the red and green jerseys. And
No. You just can't let them ruin it for you. You know what I mean? You just can't let them ruin it for you.
The misery merchants. It's crazy.
Like, I can't wait for Daredevil to come out on Disney Plus, and I'm not going to let you ruin it for me. Like, you can't. There's nothing that you will say will ruin Daredevil coming out on Disney Plus for me. I can't wait.
What if he just like comes out and just like, because he's blind, Daredevil, just like he's fighting like a ninja, and they have like electric-y swords because they don't use real swords anymore because Disney violence, and then he just slips on a puddle of piss and breaks his neck. You're gonna be like, well, actually, it's pretty great. Give me the piss puddle, Disney.
That's Drew Flaggy. I'm Ramie Makhlouf. This has been Ramie and Drew, episode 30. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk after I hit the end stream thing here and we end this stream. Maybe 2 episodes tomorrow. Maybe a little talky talk with one of my friends from Sacramento, pre-show or pre-game, and then a little live post-game with just Drew, me, and you. At least that's what I'm thinking. Again, I'll talk to Drew about it, see if he can make that work tomorrow. Either way, at least one show tomorrow. And again, if you're a loyal Ramie and Drew listener and follower, and please follow, subscribe, like, rate, review, tell a friend. We're at YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Our apologies for being away for a little while. It just, things happened where we couldn't get this thing together, but we're back, and we're going to try to get back at it day in and day out. And Drew, one way or the other, I will talk to you tomorrow, but also we're meeting up with a friend at Vanguard in a little bit over an hour. So I will see you over delicious meats and drinks in about an hour from now.
Meat.
All right. I'll see you then, buddy. That's Ramie and Drew, episode 30. Talk to you next time.